Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of Fox Reacts. Today we're checking out a new vid from joshscorcher, Top 10 Duo Bosses. That means the two bosses. Well, y'all know what it means, I don't have to explain it. And show them. Here we go. I guess there's technically an extra top of bosses. Together they take up one place, but get second place both places up. So I guess it's one. Oh, well, let's just shut up and watch. Yeah, the video is lagging for me as well. You know what? Pause real quick. Sorry. Let's go!
A pair of lone ones who were meant to be
Sometimes the best things in life come in twos. Unfortunately, so do the deadliest things. And thus enter the duo bosses. What does that mean? Well,
the two bosses
just like it sounds, a boss fight against two instead of just one. Several of them tend to fuse after you beat them down enough times, and even some of them share a health bar. Also, when I was putting this list together, I noticed that it's kind of hard to make duo bosses fun. Occasionally, you'll fight one, and then BAM! The other comes in and bum rushes you. Jerk. It's fine if you got a 24-man party since it reduces the bum rush aspect, but if you're on your own, well, good luck, buddy.
Yeah,
because of that, I hate to
rush.
admit it, but Kingdom Hearts dual bosses kinda suck.
Honestly, to count the amount of decent Kingdom Hearts dual bosses are.
One set?
Yikes.
As usual, a few ground rules for this list. First of all, the dynamic bosses get higher points if they have a shared history, if they feel like they belong together. Whether by aesthetic, gameplay, or lore, they get a gold star. Obviously, the fun factor is a big part. If we're gonna have to power through a 2-for-1 deal, you want it to feel satisfying, don't you? We're also gonna take into account how well some of these handle any fusion aspect and what happens when you manage to kill one before the other. Sometimes a little something extra will happen. And finally, this is a big one, no squad bosses. 2 shall be the number thou shalt count, and the counting of the number shall be 2. Admittedly, I wanted to put Dupless from Paper Mario 1000-Year Door on this list, but he's technically a squad boss, so rules are rules. That's for another day. And it will happen someday.
Damn it, we have an ad. We're back! Here we go, number 10.
Prince of Persia, Two Thrones, the final chapter of the Sands of Time trilogy. Pretty great conclusion that sees our titular prince on a quest to stop the villainous vizier once and for all. But first, he's got one painful obstacle in his way. Brotherly love.
What?
brotherly love.
The Nameless Twins are two of the vizier's strongest generals. Honestly, it's kind of sweet how strong their bond is considering they come from differing houses, but they both agree on one thing.
So they all
There's no one you'd rather burn and slice up a middling prince than with your own brother. Anyways, they try to burn the prince, but he chases them with a chariot before we finally enter the battle zone, beautifully surrounded by a ring of fire. Our brothers in arms are double-teaming the prince, and they brought swords and axes to the party. They don't make it easy to take them head on, as they can take any punch you throw and literally cut right into you if you don't get out of the way. To make it through, you're gonna have to focus your attacks on the sword twin, then wait for Lumberjack Boy to swing at you with his axe and dodge. Then, while his axe is stuck, wail into him. Then once you've charged enough, speed kill time. The speed kill is really the only thing that can cause enough damage, so you might be at this for a bit. Eventually, the battle ends with you taking out one twin and...
Oh, man. And he's furious.
Oh, wow. Okay, looking back at that, I kind of feel bad now. Sure, they were trying to take your head off, but... Oh, we took his brother away from him. Does that make us the bad guy, or...
Oh, well, hey, now we're both dead. See, it worked out.
What happened?
Kinda.
Honestly, there isn't a whole lot to this fight. The other is programmed to attack as soon as one of the other brothers is struck, and that can be taken advantage of very easily. There is a slight hit of bum rushing while with that one twin trying to slice you while you're preoccupied with the other one, but it's nowhere near as bad as in other cases. Call me a sadist, but I wish we could have seen how one brother would have fared after we killed the other. Would their anger make them twice as dangerous? Would they struggle without their partner in crime? I kind of want to know. Beggars can't be choosers. Still got a pretty brutal fight that keeps us on our toes and highlights the camaraderie of slice-happy siblings. And in the end, isn't that the greatest bond of all?
What happened? You just suddenly shot back. Oh, here we go. Number
Even
9.
with its relative imperfections, I still stand by the
Partners
opinion
in
that
Time.
Partners in Time is just as good as the others. Case in point, you get to have Bowser and Baby Bowser team up. With
Love
both
it.
of them running around, it's only natural that you eventually fight them alongside each other. It's also one of the only fights in the game with a unique battle theme other than the final boss.
Oh,
So you know
yeah.
stuff got real. Being a team, the two of them naturally have their own bros attacks, and they're just as
Ooh.
wonderfully creative as you'd expect. I also love the
Very nice.
lead up to the fight. Like, at first, they get on each other's nerves because, you know, Bowser wasn't exactly
It's
the most
like, who are you?
agreeable
Who
or
are you?
mature
Oh,
Koopa
no, I
in the
had it
kingdom
backwards,
at either age. Then they suddenly
you?
become
Who
an
are you?
adorable shtick of
There you go.
partners in
I see.
crime.
Okay, I got it.
That's why they call it that.
Even post-fight, they do this whole anime mentor-hero thing, and it's weirdly wholesome. So if the battle's so cool and creative, what's it doing so low on the list? Well, it's simple. Bowser's weak to ice. One of the bros items is the ice flower. This is what happens when you use them on him with an optional setup.
Hold on, folks. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, folks.
Once you do, it's all too easy to just kill Bowser in a few shots. With him out of the way, the
Boom.
fight just kind of falls apart since his younger self is such a pushover. Had the fight
Look
been
at that,
longer, it would have scored much higher.
Now, if only Midbis and Baby Midbis could have also been
Oh,
here.
look at that.
That would have made it a true 4v4.
That would have actually been interesting to see. Here we go. Number 8.
The central framing device for the early Smash Bros. Series is an individual playing with various Nintendo figures. As such, it's only fitting that one of the main bosses in said series is a hand.
Master Hand.
Now, of course, most of us have two of them, so it's only natural that Master Hand gets a partner. Crazy Hand!
Yep.
The two of them have been fought together in most games of the series, but which one gets
they're
on
kind
the
of always,
list?
though.
Well, I'm going with Melee. For as great as the intro to the fight in 4 was, the fight with the
Nice.
actual hands is over like that.
Fist
Anyways,
bump.
the way the battle unfolds is downright devious. It seems like you're just fighting one of them at first. Then once you get Master Hand down to below half HP, this
And
happens.
Intel. The crazy hand.
While you're still trying to reconcile your feelings of how
Oh.
terrifyingly creepy that laugh was, the confusion of wondering how hands can actually laugh, and the realization you have to fight two now,
whoever-
the fight quickly
well, is
escalates with both
controlling
of them
the hands
attacking
that's
you.
laughing.
In particular, their combination moves are incredibly devastating if not dodged properly. With everything that's going for it, I unfortunately can't rake this fight any higher. Being a fighting game and all,
Oh.
it can't have the dedicated polish of something in a more traditional boss fight environment.
I can understand
Plus, it
that.
just feels a bit too simple. And since I can't think of a funny way to end the segment, here's a fun trivia for you all. It's possible, albeit through a glitch, to play as Master Hand in Melee.
Not that anyone would ever
Oh.
play him in tournaments.
Yeah, okay.
That box is way
Here
too
we go.
big.
Let's go. Number 7.
And look, it's Mad World. I haven't talked
Oh,
about that
cool.
one in a while. Well, with how mad the real world is, I forgot that this one existed for a bit.
The planet's on fucking fire.
Yes,
Mad World
yes,
fans
it
can
is.
probably guess which boss or bosses I'm choosing. The father and son duo
a
with the
while.
lightsabers, and for telekinesis, the Masters. Yes,
Ooh,
these two are just a
okay.
Star Wars ripoff in the best way. They're father and son who are huge science fiction enthusiasts and base their abilities on the media they love so much. Which,
Nice.
in our case, means they have beam sabers and telekinesis,
Oh,
making
that's
them the
actually
biggest
really
Star Wars
cool.
ripoff since the Book of Boba Fett. I'd imagine they spend a lot of time in their workshops designing their latest cosplay and complaining on the internet that the
Nice.
originals are better. Both bosses share the same HP bar for some reason, so attacking them together is advised. They
Maybe
can
it's
throw
those
objects at
suits
you, push you
or
back, and
something.
create
I
a
don't know.
force field when attacked. The best way to attack them is to wait until after they use their saber combos and let loose with Jack's chainsaw.
Ah,
If they're
there you go.
separated, it's advised to attack the younger of the two, as they don't dodge as much. Power Struggle's cool too.
Oh,
They tried to
okay.
launch a freight container at you. If you fail to check, it'll explode and cause damage. If you succeed, you slice right through the containers and deal an electric shock to both of them. When it's time for the end, Jack
That's
rams
cool.
his chainsaw into one of them, telekinetically picks up the other master, and then slams him into parts of the spacecraft.
Oh.
This will cause a huge explosion that kills them both. The Masters is a
Well,
pretty
that's
simple boss,
terrible.
all things considered, and doesn't have much
I
of
mean,
a
that's a terrible
story
way to
focus
go,
compared
but
to
a
most of the
great
other
fight.
bosses on the list. But that doesn't limit how much fun fighting these two is, and isn't that what really matters in the end?
Oh yeah, it's all about the fun. Here we go, number 6.
Alright, for those at home playing Josh Scorcher Bingo, time to check off the Josh Scorcher Hates Okami Square.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, Tommy.
Yeah, Josh hates Okami. Been there, done that. This particular opinion
have
hasn't
anything to
changed,
say
but I
about
know
it.
good bosses when I see them. Towards the end of the game, before the final dungeon, Amaterasu finds herself on top of the mountain of Kamui to stop the demonic owls Lechku and Nechku from causing an eternal winter and killing the entire Arena tribe. See, I told you owls were evil. Twin Peaks and Ocarina of Time never let me down.
Hey, come on.
Stupid talking owl! Anyways, Amy first takes on Nechku with her past self Shiranui. This battle isn't anything to write home about because Shiranui is so strong that you don't even need to do anything besides dodge. However, the hothead wolf Uina, Oki, crashes the party along with Nechku, which seriously injures Shiranui. Amy and Oki chase after the owl duo and the real battle begins. The cool thing about this fight is that it's 2-on-2. Amaterasu and Oki versus the demon owls. Two owls will launch items at you from their heads and you need to counter said item with a specific brush technique. Oki will be doing damage too, but only with icicles she summons. Don't expect insane power BS like with Shiranui. If you use the correct brush technique, you can stun the bird and Oki will then summon a bow. Bite and pull back to launch the wolf shapeshifter at the stunned owl and then use your brush to pull it down. Do it right and you can smash its face with your favorite ground weapon. Unlike the masters, these two have separate health bars, so you need to knock them both down to win the fight. This battle has some really cool set pieces to it. Shiranui helping out early on, Amaterasu getting a power up, and Oki getting some needed character.
Oh, damn it, come on. Well, see all of you in a moment. I have a feeling I may have to cut again soon, but hey, let's
Plus, it's one of the only bosses in the game that doesn't repeat itself in any way later on. I swear, if we had to fight this thing in the Arc of Yamato like we had to do for Orochi for the third freaking time!
He doesn't. Oh, okay, that's why we have an ad. Well, I'll see all of y'all in a moment. Ads. Alright, we're back. Continue.
You probably
Josh,
wouldn't be on this list.
Breath.
Either way, this is a really fun fight and a good test of skill before the final dungeon. Now, I need to figure out who keeps suggesting Okami on these lists. I need to know for, accounting reasons.
Here we go. Number 5.
Move your elbows more like Dracula.
What?
Dracula, Prince of Darkness, veteran necromancer, and bane to the Belmont's family.
Count
Death,
Dracula.
the Grim
Okay,
Reaper who
now I
takes
get it.
lives and leaves behind the chill of despair. These
That's
two are
an
Castlevania's
awesome
most
weapon.
iconic bosses, and it shows. With every form they take in every game, they make their marks across. So what happens when you put these two together? Well, you get a pretty awesome boss fight, that's what.
Nice.
In Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, you play two protagonists, Jonathan Morris, a vampire hunter with Belmont's trademark whip, and Charlotte Allin, a sorceress and shapeshifter. With an interesting combo of protagonists, it's only fitting that the final battle would feature a dual boss that's just as formidable and interesting.
Sounds like
First,
a
we
good
got
idea.
Dracula doing his usual biz, teleporting and throwing fireballs everywhere while laughing like a gas addict. Then we got Death floating around and protecting Dracula by sweeping through the room with his scythe, basically playing the role of Dracula's glorified Zoner Guardian. But what is a duo without their own specials? Good thing this twosome's got a couple. Dracula can take Death's scythe to blow up a good chunk of the room, and Death can raid sickles across the room, which Dracula would then absorb and turn to his own spread of dark spheres. Whittle one of them down enough, and they start to fuse. The resulting form resembles Dracula's true form, even attacking with his shockwaves and rains of fireballs. But with Death's special touch, not only does he have the scythe, but he's got some big pair of wings.
Yeah, those
so
are
big,
some
in fact, they
big-ass
can maul the
wings.
entire room and force you to fend for your life or get crushed. Between Jonathan's whip
That is awesome.
and Charlotte's
look,
magic, you gotta
true
pull every
Dracula.
stunt you can to stand up to these harbingers. With
Oop, come on now. Well, I had a feeling I'd have to do this again. I'll see all of you in a moment. Let's just go.
stunt you can to stand up to these harbingers. With no gimmicks to pull one ally away from the other,
there
this
it
is
is.
about a clean 2v2 fight as you can get in these games.
Nice. Here we go. Number 4.
You know, there are quite a few people on the internet who get up in arms about boot plate armor, even though a couple of historians have pointed out that boot plate armor not only existed in history,
real,
but
yeah.
it was also useful
Look at
in
that.
history, depending on how it was used.
Yeah, depend.
Why is no one getting up in arms about this boot plate armor right here?
What the
Like,
hell?
especially considering
Oh.
that might not be his actual shape.
Whoa.
Why go into so much detail about this cursed piece of armor?
Wait.
Now that I pondered the real
He's
mysteries
ripped?
of life, Dragon Slayer Ornstein and Executioner Smog, two
Wow.
guards in the Anor Londo
He's
level,
ripped as
protect
hell.
the Lord Vessel. On their own, they're a pain and a half to take on. Ornstein is lightning fast, hard to hit, and can zap you from far away with his
Nice.
spear. Smog is a big brute with a giant hammer that hits like a truck. Because they
Ow.
work so closely, the only way you're going to survive this is to break them up by killing one in the first phase before finishing off the other in phase 2. Which leads to
And
the
all
million-dollar
depends on
question.
who
Who do you
first.
want to face next round? No matter who you beat first, the other is just going to absorb their power. Ornstein
look
grows
at that.
larger while Smog gains lightning abilities. You
Boom,
really gotta weigh
see?
your options here. Ornstein is definitely the harder of the two, so people usually say killing him first since Smog has so
Yeah.
many weaknesses. But
Okay,
killing
I can
Smog first
understand that.
could get you the Leo Ring, which is an awesome power
Oh.
that'll come in handy against Ornstein. Beating either one's
Hmm.
super form isn't too much of a hassle. Just watch your footing, look for an opening, and go for it.
So it
You
all
know, like
depends
every
really
other
on
Dark Souls
preference.
game. But
Like,
it's
who do
still
you
a bit of
wanna
a gamble.
kill first?
Ornstein and Smog's boss fight has been called one of the most memorable in all of Dark Souls history, and it's not hard to see why. It's already a novelty at this point to fight two bosses in Dark Souls instead of just
Oh, yeah,
one,
look at that.
but they really push the player to their limit
They're
by
like
their sheer
brothers.
size, strength, and camaraderie. The fact that they borrow the other's powers upon their death really shows how well they work together,
Nice.
and kind of turns decision-making into a game of Russian roulette when you have to ponder who should I kill first.
Yep.
Meanie! Miny!
That's something.
You hate!
Alright, here we go. Number 3.
There are many folk tales and just as many bosses
Oh, Dog's
inspired
Dungeon.
by those folk tales. One such story is of Hansel and Gretel, who were brother
Ah.
and sister, lured into a
Damn
gingerbread
it,
house
Ad.
by a witch who
God
intended
bless
to
it, I'll be
fatten
back. Just go.
them up and eat them. How does this tale translate to the boss fight? Not at all. I just
Huh?
like talking about folklore. The only
Oh.
connection these two robots have to the story are the names.
Well, that was a ripoff.
Hansel
That is
and
a
Gretel
ripoff
appear as
indeed.
part of the Tower at Paradigm's Breach Alliance raid in Final Fantasy XIV that was part of the Nier Automata crossover. Both
Oh,
BattleBots
okay.
are wielding a shield and spear in their attempts to thwart players from progressing, Gretel having red eyes and Hansel having blue. At the start
Okay,
of the
that's
fight, one
cool.
of the two constructs a barrier that's not only impenetrable, but also reflects damage back on you. So if you
Uh-oh.
attack carelessly, you'll soon find your HP bar mysteriously missing. That's not the worst of it, however. If Hansel and Gretel are too close
Wait,
to
what?
each
It's
other,
only
the one with
death?
the barrier will share that barrier with their partner until they're separated again.
Oh, boy.
Fortunately, this is where this fight being part of an alliance raid really helps out. There are 3 alliances of 8
That was
people,
close.
and each alliance has a tank. So 2 of the
Nice.
tanks are responsible for keeping aggro and maintaining the distance. This
Good.
greatly cuts down on the issue of so many other dual bosses that can have
Nice.
one completely blindside you while you're trying to focus on the other. After a bit of this, the bosses start
Good idea.
executing attacks together. Many of these attacks cleave large parts
Oh,
of the arena. If you
shit.
don't read them correctly and you're not a tank, you'll probably end up finding out what the floor tastes like. To make matters even trickier, Hansel and
Ooh,
Gretel
it
can
tastes
sometimes swap
marshmallow.
positions during attacks, completely
Well, make
flipping
kind
what
of a
areas are
marble.
safe and which are dangerous. Thankfully, it's not too hard to tell what's going on and which attacks are coming, so
That's
with a
good,
little
at
bit of
least.
practice, you shouldn't be floor tanking too much. Once one of the 2
Floor
battle
tanking.
bots goes down, the other should be at critically low HP as well, so finish it out quickly
boom.
and victory is yours. Hansel and Gretel aren't the
Success.
most complicated fight in Final Fantasy XIV or even on this list, but sometimes simplicity is more of a boon than a burden.
Looks
Sometimes
like it
all you need is
wasn't
2
too
giant
bad.
robots to work well together.
I'm all about that.
Oh, hey, StarCraft 2. I actually just got that game. Here we go.
With such a
Number
massive
2.
pantheon of bosses, the Zelda series is bound to have its own share of dual bosses.
Nice.
Twin Mole, Twin Gyorg, Twin Goma.
Oh,
Yeah,
what the-
a lot of twins in this series.
Oh, damn it. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. Let's just try.
Twin Goma. Yeah, a lot of twins in this series. And speaking of twins, the most iconic
Ah,
one in the series
look at
has
that.
to be the Witches of the Elements themselves, Twin Rova. We
Twin
covered a fair
Rova.
lot about
Oh,
them
yeah.
in Witch bosses, the Ocarina of Time fight in particular, so let's
Nice.
focus on why the fight is as special as it is. Not many dual bosses have you take the attack from one boss to inflict it on the other, and this fight
One moment, folks. I'm sorry. That was a personal matter, so let's just go.
really does it justice. With the Mirror Shield, you have to tank one witch's elemental magic and reflect it on the opposite wielder.
Oh.
Kotake's ice to Kume, and Kume's fire to Kotake, and so on and so
And,
forth.
yeah,
Don't let your guard
fire
down,
to
though,
ice,
because
ice
those
to
spells do
fire.
it pretty hard and generate their own areas of effect. Once that
Oh,
phase
yeah.
is settled, the sisters fuse into a single sorceress of fire and ice. This time you
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
absorb one
That makes
element
us so-
3 times before you can fire
Smoking
it back
good.
at her and lay waste while she's stunned. Take the opposite element in, and the magic explodes right off your shield.
And boom.
The fight itself is pretty simple once you figure out what to do, and the attacks themselves
that.
aren't hard to read at all. Still, I do want to give points to the witches for being as creative and unique as they are with this
They
fight.
will definitely
Whether
be
they're really
creative, I gotta
twins
give
or
them that.
forgot if they are, they make a pretty good team of sorceresses supreme.
Yes, they do. And here we go. Honorable mention. Alright.
New Destroy Man, No More Heroes 2. While they have wonderful and memorable personalities, their boss fight is frustrating as hell. Volcanic Lord and Blizzard Lord, Kingdom Hearts 2. Decent, but really could have done more with this concept. Sisters Viz, Binding of Isaac. Super freaky, but kind of nice on while they work together. Koshi and Roshi, Nier Automata. They're joined at the hip and can dish out both long and short-ranged attacks. Mograine and Whitemane, World of Warcraft. They don't really work together until Mograine falls and Whitemane
Well, this actually isn't too bad.
steps in, but they got each other's back, clearly. Luna and Nami.
I was talking about Dell. Don't worry about that. I hate this. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. Alright, we should be able to finish this. I'm sorry. Let's go.
Mascot Tales of Symphonia. The sun and the moon, yin and yang, lady and giant bird-like creature, both acting as the spirit of light. Kind of poetical when you think about it.
Okay. Alright, here we go. Number 1.
Greek legends tell of Theseus, the mythical king of Athens, who slew the Minotaur of Crete. And in death, these two became best buddies and worked together to prevent Zagreus from escaping Elysium.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Oh, wait, he's talking about
trouble. Make it double.
Yeah, that's where we're going with in Hades. Apparently in the game's lore, Theseus took pity on the Minotaur, now named Asterius, and the two became friends. They even wear matching identical clothes. And so Hades put them in the Elysium Stadium to block off our protagonist. Asterius actually shows up earlier as an optional mid-boss, but this is the only point where you can fight the two of them together. Asterius going gung-ho, chasing you down with his axe.
Nice.
Meanwhile, Theseus keeps his distance and starts chucking spears at you and blocking your attacks with his shield. Often he'll call on the gods' help to unleash a special attack, and occasionally call on his battering Minotaur buddy to rush at you. What a team player. Obviously, your best first move is to take out Asterius since he's getting up in your face the worst. Theseus is a little easier due to his attacks being more telegraphed and easier to dodge. But you really tick him off if you kill his friendo first.
Oh! How dare you try to kill my best friend and I kill first! That's really rude.
Now you may be wondering why these two deserve the number 1 spot. Because honestly, the pair-up is kind of brilliant. Like I said in the opening, the real Theseus and Minotaur were bitter enemies in mythology. So turning them from former rivals into bosom buddies is a really cool touch. Adding to it, they complement each other well both in and out of the battle. Asterius is the serious straight man, while Theseus is the hammy jerk. If extreme measures are activated, he gets a freaking golden chariot with Gatling guns! And even though Theseus is a delusional, narcissistic jerk, he cared enough about his old rival to consider him a brother, and even loses his mind if he loses him. In return, Asterius is eternally grateful for his second chance and proves it with his loyalty. Honestly, kind of makes me want to see a spin-off title where we see the story of their relationship truly blossom.
Yeah,
I'm Josh Scorcher, and you know what? Sound off in the comments if you want a Theseus Asterius buddy comedy spin-off game.
I can see that.
I mean, it's not like Super Giant's busy at the moment.
That is what we're going to leave off today's video. So, I want you all to remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Down in the description will be a link to the original video, so remember to support the original creator and all they do. And I'll see all of you folks next time. So have a good one out there, folks. Peace.